Well, I knew, that was a great punt, and they were pinned back down there, so I was going to try to fire off. And I was thinking pass rush, and then Luke Bland and Marshall Hammock they pushed him up in the pocket, and I got him.
Well, last night at the pep rally, we had the 45, 57, and 2005 state championship players. Some of those guys came. And when you play for a state championship, it brings the Scott alumni, the Scott Nation back together again, and everybody's rooting for the same thing, a championship. And our kids play very hard, and they it's a tradition, just like Temple has a great tradition. We have a great football tradition, and to bring a state championship home will mark these guys forever. They'll put their name up on the press box, their number year 2016, and they'll be back every year that we play for another state championship. So they've set themselves apart today by the way they performed. Well, our defense, led by Coach Woods, has gotten better as the year progressed, and they've stayed healthy, and they just seemed to, as the year progressed, got more confidence in each other, so they were playing their own responsibilities, and everybody did their job, and they were just hustling on every play to where if one guy missed a tackle, somebody else was there. And as you saw today, when the chips are down and they've got to make a play, they came up with a play. And they've been a great defense throughout the playoffs. And today was such it kind of put the icing on top of the cake of just how great they are, because they were put in some really tough positions throughout the day, bad field position. They were tired. Temple had gotten that tempo offense going, and they found a way to stop them. Coach Wood is willing to give up that little 5-yard pass and rally and make the tackle. And, a lot of people think you won't be patient enough to do that down the field. But every time we'd move our outside backer out, they'd run the ball, and every time we move the outside backer in, they'd throw the ball. So they got you in a bind. And so what you do is you play you move him back and forth and make them guess a little bit and hope they go to something else. Our skill guys are going to get put into one-on-one situations with deep passes. I knew that. And I knew that they were going to have to make plays on the ball with the ball in the air, obviously, and a great player running for it. And I think 3 times today or more, our guys went up and found a way to keep a good receiver from getting the ball. Either they batted the ball away or they made a hit or whatever it was. But they played the ball well in the air on deep balls, and that was a real key, is for us to keep them from making those big plays. Well, I've never had a team that I've only had one of the state championship team 2005, but we were healthy. We had one injury in the playoffs, and Chris Olsen was the injury, and he came back for the state championship game. But this was a team that we had the 2 leading receivers, the 2 leading rushers go down. And yet other guys stepped up to take up the slack. And I've only seen it happen a couple other times where a team will compensate for losses, and other players will step up and not only take the place of the guy that was injured, but play better than they're capable, or what people think they're capable of playing. And then other guys on the defense maybe picking up the slack a little bit, and maybe the offensive lineman blocking a little bit harder. But I'm going to say this, and John Stephen and Turner would both echo this. Number 35 is a tough cookie, and we wouldn't be here without him, Paxton Alexander.
I wanted to score, but our O-line made some great blocks, and the receivers blocked great downfield. Jack Toohey made a big block right near the end zone. And just great team effort on that play. O-line played great on that play, and so did the receivers.
They were huge. We put ourselves in real bad field position several times, and it could have been. We put ourselves in a position where if we don't make plays, they're going to get away from us. And our defense just held them to 7, and we got. I thought at half we were 7-7. I thought we were fortunate to get out of that half 7-7 with everything that happened to us. So those early defensive stops were critical to us winning a football game. When everybody was watching, there was 40,000 people, and they have to make plays to win a football game against an extremely talented Temple football team. They came through. And all I can tell you is they're tenacious competitors. and they play hard for their teammates, and they're going to play 48 minutes, and they're going to compete to find a way to win a football game. And it was a very unusual way to win today. It's not the kind of game that we're used to playing. It was a hard-fought game, and it wasn't smooth, and I never felt like we were in the rhythm, but we just got to have to take what we could get, and they made plays to win it.